All right. So the book or run or pedo group, the ones that do books, they're infatuated with like weird integrated sex stuff. Okay. So in the past, they essentially like started to build some sort of weird voyeur, like they would voyeur us and then they would build some sort of weird integrated sex narrative. It was basically about how Lena or something was related to me in some way and also underage and shit. And how our son is like some dumb Mormon's kid or something. Stuff like that. And that then they attempt to build like illusionary evidence of that shit. And then it lures in the weird in the past the voyeurs, they would lure in more voyeuring and they'd get more money. And then they attempted to build this narrative up so much so that like they have like these FBI databases that are running through S&M. And then they treat those as if they're like factual or something like that. Let me tell you, I'll tell you right now. Lena in no way is genetically close to me whatsoever. Right? Her mother's Thai. And her father is Norman French or something like that. Basically. Or Norman or something. Alright? And so I'm basically Scottish or Viking, basically. And that those are different. Those are different. She in no way represents anything that would ever be anything. Alright? So, these people, I found them behind the scenes justifying doing this illegal divorce with me. This is what I found about this is what they were saying. They claim to do this illegal divorce shit at me based on believing Lena being secretly underage and secretly like a daughter or something. And that it's built out of these people who have like weird, they like to do it's like in Playboy, they would have like, or Hustler or something, they would have like the reading. You'd be able to read about a sexual experience or something. They're like, you know, they like to act sophisticated and shit, and so they're like purist, weird, like that. And so usually those people are raging fucking Satanists. And that then, in some ways, dumb used to sell. They used to figure out weird sex stuff. And then they would write, they would, with chicks, with women. And then they would sell those because they have to buy everything. And that one night I was attempting to give Dom an understanding. And so I basically described one, okay? Basically. And so that, because Dom, a new breed of Dom came along and they use some dark web that then has that as one of its abilities, is selling the weird sex story stuff. And then they would do like what they thought was weird kinky stuff, but that then nobody was buying them. And then I basically told them what type of sex story stuff would actually sell. Okay? And so, I don't know, maybe Lena was doing that, maybe. But see, the reality is that, like, you know, that was just to sell, and that you basically have to write stuff that people buy, and that they, you know, it, talking about like whipping somebody or paddling somebody. That stuff. That's what they were that's what they were doing at first, and then I heard that them wanted to figure out why the fuck everybody else was like it, because you don't. If you don't buy them, then you don't get to see it, basically, and that essentially they were in deep web that sells those. Those people, they can kind of see a preview of it basically, and that then they have to buy it. Okay, but see, up in deep web, you can't see the other books or the other stories or something, and so that none of them were ever getting theirs purchased, and so then they essentially, one of my friends' computers had access to the deep web that they were able to listen on a few nights. And so then I described what kind of weird sick fuck shit. And then over time, see, essentially, the way to write the stories, literally, here's what it is. It has to have like cucking and pedophiling and homoing, but in the psycho-y way, like the way that those dudes, they like almost beat each other up and start raping each other that way. And that then it's like the weird incest stuff. And that then this is like having sex with cadaver kind of stuff, basically. And that then these, you're not necessarily supposed to be writing about this specific stuff. This would be like Club and Royal Club, Satan Man and Satan Witch. Those sex stories are satanic rituals that you're actually not supposed to write about. And then these are like, this one is cuck witch or something, and then this is pedo witch, and then this is homo witch, and then this is incest witch. So then that's like the weird stuff with the daddies and brothers and that type of stuff. This type of stuff is like weird kitty kind of stuff. And so essentially you're supposed, the most sought after ones essentially have a grouping of a moment or sexual moment or something that will have all of this included in it. Okay? And so that is like what the purest weird sex story people are actually looking for. And see, the whole idea is that nowadays when they get those, they attempt to make those stories happen. So I would be leery about being very good at doing it, because you know what? In the end, if it becomes like really decently integrated, then those people are like, that's the kind of sex that they like. All of that type of stuff at one moment. So then it becomes like a pedo bit, okay? It does. And so the more they read these erotic stories that are built in these kind of ways, the more likely they'll be an offender, and they'll start obsessing about making those type of moments happen and shit. That's what Satanists do. They're sick as fuck. So just remember, that's basically who you're selling to. It's the people that will end up, if it's salacious enough or something, they'll end up trying to make it happen. Because they're sex freaks. This is what satanic sex freaks attempt to do. See, they want all of this at one moment, to do all of that at one moment. It is. Basically. I mean, they'll want some weird father with his little daughter and shit doing weird, gross shit. They'll want some older chick to be banging her father and shit. They will. They'll want that. They'll sit there and jack off and shit. They're gross as fuck. Most of those people, probably, more than likely, they'll have sex with the kid, basically. But essentially, this type of stuff is what gets their penis hard, basically. And that's where they'll want it, like right in front of them and shit. And that's the stuff that it takes time to make their penis hard or something like that, because they're just sex freaks. They've done that stuff for so many years that essentially it takes a whole weird Satan-y like process just to get their dick hard. I mean, this is the truth. This is what it is about those people.